A really important part of our research process at Harding Loevner is to meet companies. We get to learn a lot more about their business in person than we would from reading their annual report or just listening to what brokers have to say about them. And one of the really good ways about meeting a lot of companies in a short period of time is to attend industry conferences. Yeah, this was a 2-week trip. Started out in London, where I attended the Temenos Investor Day. Following that, I went to Paris to attend a Bank of America consumer conference. Then it was to Munich to attend the Semicon, which is a semiconductor industry event. From there, I went to Barcelona for 4 days to attend the Morgan Stanley European Technology Media Conference. So Semicon Europe is a really interesting conference. It's basically where the majority of the semiconductor companies in the world come and showcase the new latest technologies that they're developing, the new products that they're coming up with, in order to entice buyers. A lot of people who come to these conferences are actually buyers of these products. So this is very different to the broker organized conferences. In those conferences, who you see are the CEOs, CFO, investor relationship, and more the top-down senior management. At Semicon Europe, you get to see the products. You get to meet the engineers who made these products. You get to meet the engineering salespeople who sell these products to these clients. This is a great way of understanding at the product level and trying to figure out what one company's product versus another company's product, where they differ, and how you can get your mind around which one is better, worse. A good example of this is Keyence. Going into this conference, I had a view that Keyence was very much more a consulting company than a product company. My view was that they have these really talented engineering salespeople who go and meet small businesses and understand what their automation requirements are. When they make these parts, they need to be inspected. And what you have is this visual technology which look at these parts on a conveyor belt and then screen out the ones which don't fit the correct profile. Now, a lot of companies do this. What I wanted to understand was why Keyence is different to the other companies. What I got from this conference is that they actually participate not in the whole of this value chain, but a very small segment. They look at technology which actually looks at parts in a 3D perspective, both not just outside, but also inside dimensions and shapes of the product. That's very different to their competitors who tend to look more from the holistic picture, bigger picture of the part. What that means is that Keyence can sell a smaller number of these visual scanning equipment, but they're a lot more mission critical because they can actually do things that the other competitors cannot. And to me, learning that product difference and understanding where Keyence fits in was really important to understand what is the competitive differentiator for Keyence versus its competitors. What we learn from these conferences is really important to us because we get to speak to the company's suppliers, we get to speak to the company's competitors, and we get to speak to other industry participants whom we normally don't when we talk directly to the company. Take, for example, SAP. SAP is one of the leading enterprise relationship software companies in Europe and across the world. Their biggest customers are all the corporations in the world. Their suppliers are all the IT services companies who implement their software at all these other companies. By talking to these IT services companies, we can understand the pace at which SAP is able to sell its businesses and what customers actually think of their business versus their competitors. This is a type of in-depth research that you really can only do by talking to multiple sets of sources, not just the company. Hemnet, Rightmove, and Scout24 are the leading real estate platforms in Sweden, UK, and Germany respectively. These three companies have significant market share in their countries, and they are the leading platforms that people go to search for homes to buy or to rent. One of the most interesting things that I learned from this trip is how closely these companies actually talk to each other. There's a lot of cross-learnings they do from each other. They routinely talk to each other to understand what is happening in their markets and to understand what lessons they can take from Rightmove in the UK when they started raising prices. How did competitors react? How did their customers react? What are the things that they did to make sure that churn, which is turnover of real estate agents because prices rise, is low? What are the types of offers that they gave to retain agents? How do we use that in our own market? It's something that I didn't realize that they did so closely. In fact, I actually was coming back from a dinner on the third night of the conference, and I noticed that all these CEOs from these companies were coming back from a dinner together. That shows how close they are in terms of working to understand each other's business and also to learn from each other.